But I believe that by overwhelming majority, you and I, in the long run, and if it be necessary, you and I will act together to protect, to defend, by every means at our command.
Right guys, let's carry on with the spell etymology of the word extraterrestrial. Now I always like to show you what people believe in before I show you what I've come up with. And obviously extraterrestrial, people believe there is ETs and they've been visited by aliens from outer space. That's cool, that's your perspective. What I don't like in the community is when people make mockery of these people because they feel and believe, and their perspective on this topic is totally disrespectful. We all have our perspectives on life, so we should respect everyone's opinion, but we don't, do we? Because we follow said patterns in the community. So we have people who believe in ETs. I've shortened it down, and then obviously now in the community we have people talking about extraterrestrial as being extra land outside of this realm, outside of a ice wall. Some people have talked about this in regard to a map that's flying around from a book or videos that people's done called Terra Infinita, and I'll put an image on the screen, everyone's seen it, and there's also various other maps on this topic who show more land outside of this realm. Now, as I've always said in my videos when I'm doing anything like this, wouldn't it be better if they included my theory on the Janice Islands in respect to this? Because think about it, if we're talking about more land outside of this realm, how would you get to that said land? And these people mention portals and doorways. Now, the god of gods, as you know, I've researched Janos quite a bit. There's two islands, one in the north, one in the south. I mentioned it in regard to Mount Meru last week. Why don't you mention it in their theories? Because it would make more sense if people thinking, oh, well, how did he get to this land? And they don't know about Janos. So if these people who do these videos and topics say, get to this other land, the god of gods, Janos, the god of doorways and portals, there's two islands, one at north, one at south, or opposite ends. People go, wow, now we know there's more land, and now we know how they're getting to that land. But they don't, because these people made a mockery of me, and the ego is still strong. I've got over it. I just find it intriguing that people don't mention it. So obviously, so in regard to extraterrestrial, people believe there's more land outside of this, and these people that are visiting, these craft that are visiting, have come from an ancient race, or an Elites, as I call them, or Elshites. These are etymology of Elshites, basically something godly or divine, and they were followers of El. Now, EL can also be AL, and you find it in extraterrestrial. So with this advanced race, could they be from this? So it's just a thought that I've had and talked about many a time. So we've got this extraterrestrial being people from, or race from, more land outside of our own. Makes sense, doesn't it? Not necessarily true, but it makes sense. Well, it does to me anyway. So I've broken down a little bit different, and obviously I will talk you through it so you can actually see what crazy he's come up with. So extraterrestrial, obviously you saw the description and meaning that they've stated is extraterrestrial. I've just briefly talked about what other people in the community believe extraterrestrial means: more land. And here's what I've got to say, and when I show you my breakdown, you should go wow, because it emphasizes on what people already believe, and it's in the spells, it's in the spelling. So let's crack on. So let's start with how I've broke it down. EX, X. A lot of people have had them, but the meaning of X is out of, or one that held a specified position or place. So that's talking about a place or something. If you change it from a person to a place or a land, it talks about this very thing is held in a specific place. Wow. Wow. So you're talking about extra land, and we're talking about X means a specified position or place on said map. And remember, all maps are spam. They're all political, they're all religious, and they all have an agenda. I showed you this a long time ago. Maps is an anagram for spam. So you done EX. Now let's go to TRA. So obviously extra, I've just split extra up, and TRA means, now here we go, amid, or in the middle of, or amongst. So I've just done a video on Mount Meru. That is supposed to be in the middle, and also it's supposed to be amongst. So when people believe in terra infinita, or infinite, they are basically saying we're amongst many other lands. Well, extra means a specified place amongst all this. Voila. It's telling you straight there. Isn't that a wow? And what's I finding interesting is I broke it down a few different ways to get two different meanings, but come to the same conclusion. So we've done EXTRA, extra, but split it in two. We now left with terra. Terra means land or earth, and that also means dry. So dry land or earth. But also, if you shorten it, TER means 3 times. Well, when you look at images for Atlantis, you always see it has 3 rings, 3 islands, or 3 canals. And then also you have the Trinity, 3 faces. So that's intriguing, isn't it? And then if you look more into the etymology, TRA also means across or beyond. So we're talking about a specified, I can't say that word, position or place or land amidst, the middle, or amongst, or across and beyond. That is what extra and then TER means at the minute. So extra land hidden amongst or held in position. Isn't that wow? Just blew me away. So obviously you got that, and then the rest, depending on how you split it up, means to remain, to stand. So all is basically showing you what's going on, what people's theory of more land, whether it's over the ice wall or not, is hidden within the words of extraterrestrial. So let's go to STRI in extraterrestrial, terresti. It means to spread, to show, or to stew, and to cover. And when I read that bit, it just got me thinking. got me thinking. And obviously AL, it means something godly or divine, and that's why I was talking about Elites or Elshites before, because the etymology of Elshites, or Elites as I call it, the other way around. El is something godly or divine, and ites means followers of. So could these people in these ships be classed as elites because they came from this other land? Now, a theory that I've had that you would have seen in a few videos, I've talked about it many times, but also it's not my original theory. A lot of people have thought about this. Well, what if the extraterrestrial weren't coming from extra land outside of our own, but coming from inside and under the water? That to me makes even more sense, especially when I've just read out the etymology. We saw films like The Abyss, you saw films like Aquaman, you saw things like Wakanda Forever. There used to be an old program in the 80s and 90s called Sequest DSV, which was basically submersible vehicles, and it just got me thinking, like The Abyss and like William Cooper's book, Beyond the Pale Horse, where he talks about being in intelligence and seeing vehicles coming in and out of the water. Why did he protect certain locations on the earth? Why is the oceans not being investigated? Is it because there is a race or intelligence living under the water on the old land? Now think about it. Is it Pangaea, where it was all one land, and these people, I call them by another name, precursors. People will call them, is it Adamites or something like that, but pre-curse, before the curse. Now, one of the original curses, I believe, was the Great Flood, which has been documented in a lot of religions. Now, if we lived on a Pangaea and a Great Flood happened and a lot of things were wiped out, a lot of this land would have been put under water. Hence why you do get a lot of submersible vehicles coming out of the water. People have talked about this and why they're not being investigating this land. So look at the etymology. X out of a specified I can't say it, place or position, meaning land. There's the TRA, amid, in the middle, or amongst, or across, or beyond. TER, 3 times, meaning 3 lands, 3 islands, 3 rings, but also terra, meaning land or earth, and that word dry. And rest, remain, to stand, and to spread, to stew, to cover. So could it be talking about these extraterrestrials are from land that they lived on pre-curse? It was land, the Great Flood happened, and all this realm got submerged, and they withdrew to the seas, or had no choice. Think about it. All these old religions talking about gods coming out of the water to teach them tech. You've only got to look at one aspect of Janos, being Oans or Dagon coming out from the sea and being, like a Lucifer type of figure, or a light bringer, or a Prometheus type of figure, showing them technology. And that was what Oans was originally labelled as, coming out of the water to show people. You had all videos of Stargate SG-1. Remember the episode when Daniel gets tucked beneath the water, they think he's dead, and Oans or Janos basically trying to read his mind to find his lost love. So it's all been shown to us. Whether you believe it is up to you guys and how you interpret the information. When I interpret this information, it's steering me to the land beyond, but below, not beyond, but below the seas. And these are the ancient sea people. It's just, just gets you to think. So if you like my explanation of extraterrestrial being not from over the ice caps or the outer rim, but from below, there could be both, who knows. But I'm just theorising, could extraterrestrial be about all this land hidden below the seas before the precursors, before the original curse? So if you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. And if you want to go one step further and help the channel and me, please go to the link in the description and buy me a coffee. Right guys, stay safe, always wear a smile, and don't let the bar stools grind us down. Bye guys.